Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that intro. Everyone can hear me, see my screen okay? All right. Oops. Well, thank you all for being here. My name is Ryan Pagois, and I am an associate director at Built Environment Plus. Um, I have some other team members on the call. They'll be dropping some links in the chat as I go along. But we're really excited to introduce Built Environment Connects to you all today. This is a project of Built Environment Plus and Mass CEC. And BE Plus is a member-based nonprofit, and we work to drive sustainable and regenerative design, construction, and operations of the built environment. We do this through a number of different services and projects. We provide green buildings education. We build community within the industry. We engage in advocacy. We develop research and tools such as the Connects tool. We celebrate our community's successes and we foster leadership opportunities for sustainable building practitioners. So, just to give a little overview of what I'll be talking about today. I'm going to give you a brief context of BE Plus's road to net zero work that started back in 2019 and kind of what led us up to the Connects project. Give an overview of Built Environment Connects, and then we'll jump into a live demo of the tool of the site, and then we'll end with a Q&A. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat, and we can revisit them at the end. All right. So our original net zero focused report came out in 2019. People were coming to us and asking about the operational costs of building net zero projects based on modeled data, since we didn't have too much measured data at the time. And the reaction of this report coming out was a question about upfront costs as well as operational costs, which is when BE Plus began collecting both upfront and operational costs for net zero projects. And this is where our Road to Net Zero program began. And since then, we have released uh, five net zero reports starting in 2021. Our most recent report was in 2024. And we really started collecting data and reporting it to provide key information to support community leaders in their advocacy and leadership efforts around building net zero and net zero ready. In April of 2024, we released our fifth update to the report. And this continued data collection has increased the total of net zero and net zero ready projects included in this analysis from 7 million gross square footage to over 48 million gross square footage. So it was clear from this analysis that Massachusetts was no longer just ready for net zero, but is actually going net zero. So we skipped our 2025 report to focus on building out the Connects tool and increasing the features and capacity of the site. But we're thrilled to share that in May of this year, we will be releasing our sixth update to the Massachusetts Ready or Going Net Zero report. And we're able to use the Connects tool in order to deliver this report update, which is very exciting. We'd also like to share that in partnership with Mass CEC, we've extended efforts to support the market adoption of net zero buildings through our high performance building procurement toolkit. And this toolkit was created to support municipalities, developers, and building owners when they're identifying companies and procuring services that are needed for high performance building projects. The included resources help municipal representatives explore the sustainability, resiliency, and climate mitigation objectives of developers' proposals. And this is in particular regard to energy efficiency, embodied and operational carbon, indoor air quality, and grid interactivity. So developers will also find similar support for generating this engagement with their project teams. So, a question that we have gotten over the years is, I want to build net zero and I don't know who to call. You might also be wondering, are net zero buildings being built in my community and where are they and who is working on them? So, our solution to these questions is Built Environment Connects. So, Connects is an interactive platform that links high performance building professionals, companies, and real project experience all in one place on this one site. This is designed to help teams identify qualified collaborators, and the platform highlights proven expertise in the industry behind the design and construction of high-performance buildings across the built environment. So the goal of this tool is to be the marketplace for high-performance building professionals, companies, and their projects, as well as to collect and share project data to enhance and grow the built environment. So we hold the foundational perspective that a given company's expertise is in its people and is proven through its completed and in progress projects. And this is what makes Connects unique. The search results will reward companies and individual professionals with this proven high performance project experience. And this is accomplished by connecting project profiles directly to the people and companies that made it possible. So everything on the site is interconnected, professionals to projects, projects to companies, and companies to professionals. For the search user, results are ranked by relevant industry and project experience. And then filtering and sorting is possible to um, kind of get to the results that you're looking for, and it's super powered by the project data that we have on the site. So the results reward companies and individual professionals with this proven high performance project experience. Search users are then always guided to contact a professional directly. So the ideal scenario is being that they find the person who is best qualified to answer their questions directly and help them move their project along. So companies, professionals, and projects can be anywhere in the US. We have, since it started in Massachusetts, we have quite a bit of Massachusetts data, but we're pushing it more nationally. And profession types include architecture, construction, development, engineering, sustainability consulting, and more. So for professionals, Connects is a great way to track your total experience through connections to both in progress and completed projects. So the profile will showcase their full career and will display projects and stats from all of their endeavors, regardless of the company that they're with at the time. So if a professional moves from one company to the other, they're able to sever that connection with their previous company while keeping the projects that they worked on while they were there. So this will benefit users, site users, to see what credentials these professionals have, what their roles and experience on specific projects have been over time. And the quality of data is very important to us, and this transparency piece is very important to us. So the design of Connects has developed into this connected platform, which means that projects and company profiles are shared amongst everyone. And this resulted in a wiki-like design where professionals have access to update and edit pages for projects and companies, as well as the connections between them. The one caveat to this is that personal professional profiles are locked and can only be edited by the professional itself. But all these other profiles and connections have this wiki-like design. So market transforming work is happening across Massachusetts, and Connects is bringing it all together. You might be wondering who is using the site. Building owners, managers, and owner representatives looking to be in touch with professionals, as well as community stakeholders, advocates, legislators, and community members. The listed professionals range from architects, contractors, engineers, energy consultants, and beyond. So in order for a project to be featured on the site, it has to meet three main project requirements. First, it must be a commercial or large residential building. We have a minimum unit number of 15 units for residential projects, as well as a minimum square footage of 15,000 square feet. For commercial project, there is no square footage threshold, but we are not focusing on single family homes at this time. It must be all electric for normal heating operations. Um, we have some slightly different thresholds for lab and healthcare buildings. And then gas backups are okay, and domestic hot water does not need to be all electric at this time, but it must be all electric for normal heating operations. Lastly, it must be ultra energy efficient, and we provide some different pathways to determining its ultra efficiency. Um, on our website. One thing that we like to make sure everyone's aware of is that Connects is free. Part of the mission of this tool is this open source data availability and transparency. So there are no basic features locked behind paywalls. So we're going to jump over to Connects now and take a look at how the tool actually functions. Everyone can still see my screen, I hope.
Yes.
Great. So when you go to connects.build, this is the home page. This is where you're going to land. Um, and here you're able to search by professional or company, and we'll revisit this feature here. But if you scroll down, you can see the top professionals on the site list or sorted by or ranked, excuse me, by gross square footage. Similarly, you can see the top companies on the site also sorted by gross square footage and the project spotlight down below. So these are some of our um, most complete and well-represented projects on our site. And you can click into these profiles here. But I want to take you first up to the top right corner, the menu bar, to the Explore Projects page. So you can see the total number of projects on the site. We have 441. This is for all states and all climate zones, all regions. Um, and you can scroll down here and click into any of these project profiles um, down below. But wanted to highlight the refine results feature up here. There are a lot of different ways to sort and filter project results. For example, you can search by certifications related to energy and carbon. So if you're specifically interested in LEED, Living Building Challenge, or FIAS, you're able to do that. Um, You can filter by net zero status. So we have net zero achieving, targeting, or net zero ready. But for the sake of this demo, I'm going to sort by project type here. So I'm going to select education K through 12, and then we're going to select Massachusetts here. So we'll hit apply, and this will lower my number of results to 55 total projects. So these are all education K through 12 buildings in Massachusetts. So I'm going to click into the Boardwalk campus, Douglas and Gates School in Acton. And this is going to pull up the project profile. We have project images up top, the location and project type along with its completion date, so 2022. And then we highlight the gross square footage up top, so 175,000 square feet, and then the number of companies and professionals connected to this profile. So when you scroll down, you get a brief project description provided by the project team. And then we have our project data down below. So project owner, the net zero status, um, how the building is all electric for heating. So this project uses ground source heat pumps. It has all electric hot water service, powered by electric resistance instantaneous systems, produces 100% on-site renewable energy, also provides the EUI, whether the EUI is measured or modeled, and then links to more project information. So this one would take you to AeroStreet's website. And down below, we have our project team. So this is where the connections come into play. You can see which companies and which professionals featured on the site are connected to this project and who worked on it. So clicking into energy engineering, we see that Thornton Tomasetti worked on this project. If we click in to see the architect, we see that AeroStreet was the firm that provided that service, and Kate Babrisky was the architect for the project. You can see her role on the project here, her professional credentials, and then some of her experience listed below. And you're able to click into any of these profiles here, but I will highlight those later on. So that is kind of what the project profile looks like. If we go back to the home page, or sorry, excuse me, I'm going to go back to the Explore Projects page. I wanted to just highlight one other way that you can search for projects here through the keyword filter. So if you're wondering what projects have been completed in Brookline or are linked to Brookline, you can type in Brookline here and we'll get 5 projects that are all located in Brookline. So if you're wondering what is located in your town or municipality, um, while we don't have a formal filter for every Massachusetts town that's featured on the site, you can use that keyword function to pull out um, those Brookline projects, for example. So next, I'm going to take you through the About page, which is where you can find the definitions that we use on the site, so net zero and net zero ready, and more information about requirements that projects must meet to be included. So this will be where you find definitions about ultra energy efficiency and all electric status. But if we go back up top, we can hit the Explore project data hyperlink here to view trends and kind of high-level summary pages, which we're really excited about. This is a new feature in the past couple months. And this is what is powering our current net zero reporting. And this is what's going to power our 2026 net zero report update. So this page is a summary page of all project data on the site. So every individual project profile, the data that they're providing is being pulled into these charts and graphs on this page. So you're able to filter by project type here, and these charts are dynamic and live, and they'll update live with these filters. You can also filter by climate zone. So I'm calling from Minnesota right now. If I'm curious about what's happening in my climate zone and want to pull in Massachusetts projects, which is in that similar climate zone, the 5A cool humid, want to see how we can translate those approaches into my community over here. I could always filter by climate zone, and that's why we have this filtering tool in here too. So for the sake of this, I won't do any filtering, but just running you through the charts and the data that we're showing on this page. So the first chart is net zero and net zero ready projects over time. So from 2021 to 2031, just showing that gross square footage and what the breakdown is. And for all of these charts, you're able to download the data in a CSV format or download the image of the chart in a PNG format. So breaking it down by project type, showing how many projects are listed on the site for each project type here. As you go down, back to our roots with the cost data here, showing the cost of building net zero compared to conventional construction. Looking at heating options to achieve electrification. So the breakdown of heat pump technologies featured on the site, down to domestic hot water and what types of systems are being used across different project types to electrify domestic hot water. And we're really excited about these charts. They are kind of uh, or no, what's the word I'm looking for? They're editable, so you can isolate different system types. So if you wanted to specifically look at ground source heat pumps and see which project types are using those, you can click off these other system options and isolate these types. Similarly, on-site and off-site renewable energy, you can also isolate by on-site renewables only, for example, and see which project types are procuring on-site renewable energy. And so those are the charts that we're featuring on this summary data page. And if you go down below, we have some other links to some more data pages. So if you're interested in Massachusetts data specifically, you can click into the Find Data by State page. And Massachusetts is the only state page that's currently live. We're working with some other partners across the country to get their own state pages built out. But for the sake of today, we'll click into Massachusetts. And this page will follow the same narrative and feature the same charts and information as the kind of higher level data summary page. But this is only pulling Massachusetts project data. So we're seeing the same charts here, the net zero ready projects, breakdown by project type, costs, electrification systems, domestic hot water, and renewable energy. Again, all of the charts are downloadable either in CSV or image format. And then down here, it'll take you to the list of professionals, companies, and projects that are working in Massachusetts. So if you click these links, you will only see the relevant local professionals within your state. Lastly, we're going to jump to the compare data page, which is where it gets a little bit more granular if you're really interested in how Massachusetts project data stacks up to any other state. For example, um, let's see. I will compare to Minnesota for my own sake. So you can select two different options in each column, and it will compare data side by side. So in Massachusetts, we're seeing 406 projects compared to 3 projects in Minnesota. But as you scroll down, you get that data side by side, both in number of projects and gross square footage, but also in percentages. So you can compare across the different scales if the numbers might not be quite so comparable side to side. So we have net zero status, height, electric heating, primary hot water, and cost featured on this. So if you really want to dig into the data and look at how different regions are performing or the progress in different areas, this is where you can come. So the last thing I'd like to show is going back to the home page, kind of how you find specific professionals and companies through this homepage search. So what if you come in and you're looking for a specific professional, make sure you have professional selected here, click next, and then you're able to select what type of project they're what field they're working in and where their project experience lies. So for this, I will select architecture and education K through 12. And when you hit go, it's going to compile all the professional profiles that have architecture experience on education K through 12 projects. So just to be consistent, we'll click into Kate. So Kate Babrisky with Arrow Street has the most experience in architecture on K through 12 projects. And you're going to see up top their gross square footage that they're connected to, their number of project, and their years of experience. And then this is really important. It's their direct contact information. So if you are coming in and you're looking for projects or for a professional to help advance your project, you're able to get in touch with Kate directly. And she built out this profile herself. So she included her own about information and then built out all of her experience down here. And if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see the projects that she is connected to on the site. So you can actually go see examples of her work. So if we go back to the home page again, we'll do the same thing with companies. So select companies, hit next, and then we'll do architecture and K through 12 again. Hit go, and you're going to get all the architecture firms that have worked on K through 12 projects that are featured on Connects. So again, we'll just click into Arrow Street, and this is their company profile. You'll see their total square footage of projects, the number of projects on the site, and the number of professionals that they have on Connects. And when you scroll down, you can see all of their professional profiles if you'd like to get in touch with one of them in particular, all the projects that they are connected to on the sites, and then primary contact and some general information, so website and more general office email, and a little bit of about information down below. Up top, you'll also see their sustainability pledges, and when the company started. So, I believe this is everything I wanted to share as it concerns the Connects tool. So I'm going to jump back into my slides really quick to wrap up. But just want to invite all of you to spread the word and to help us build a better world by using Connects and this powerful tool of data sharing. I wanted to end with just this QR code to get you to the site, or you can visit connects.build. Very excited to kind of launch this next chapter of the tool with you all. So thank you for being here, and we can switch over to the Q&A session.
Great. Thanks so much, Ryan. That was great. I don't know about anybody else, but I'd love to see again how you sorted for getting into a town, because I know that's one of the applications that for our work in doing legislation and advocacy is really useful, because a lot of times people are advocating in their communities and they actually have no idea that there are any electric buildings in their town or city, and they don't even know. Their kids can be going to the local elementary school, and it can be ground source heat pumps, and they'll have no clue because these buildings look like every other single building. So it's not that they look any different. So I'd love to see how you sorted by town.
Sure. So that was just using the keyword search function. So if you
Yep.
go into explore projects and refine, at the top there's a text box where you can refine the results by keyword. So I see Cindy on here, so I'll type in Lexington and hit apply. And then you will see the results show up with any project in Lexington or with Lexington in the title.
That's great. And another thing I know is that we can certainly put the sort of the word out on the listserv, but I know if people can sort for towns, they can also check to see if their town's listings are up to date, because in some cases, projects might sneak by without you guys realizing that they're there.
Totally.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. There was a question about retrofits. And it looks like Meredith is putting some information in the chat, but I think at this point it doesn't include any building retrofits, or does it?
Right now, I'll take that one. Right now, it does not really include building retrofits. I can tell you from knowing who's on the site that if you look at the professionals, a lot of the professionals who are on the site also do building retrofits. And so looking at the project types and then contacting some of those professionals will prove fruitful. In terms of the projects, it does not include building retrofits right now. It's the projects on the site, we have very strict requirements from them being on the site that Ryan went through, in that they have to be all electric for heating operations, and they have to be essentially not single family residential, and they have energy code requirements. Basically any stretch code building in Mass will qualify now, but that's not the case for around the country. And so one of our hurdles to getting projects on here for retrofits is just what the baseline would be to have on the site. So and though I did put in the Building Performance Exchange website, and this is something that we are actively working on. We're working with Berto and in terms of with the Berto team in terms of how to solve this problem for both. And I see Alan's interested in both the professionals and the project examples. So more to come on this soon. But right now it's not part of this tool.
That's great. Thanks a lot, Meredith. Any other questions for anybody? It was a great demonstration. Really appreciate it.
I guess I have a question, Lisa, in terms of do people think this is useful? How do you see yourselves using this? Is it something that you think is valuable and that you will be using? And if so, in what way? And what do you find interesting or helpful about it?
So just back to my comment a little bit a few minutes ago, I've been talking with Ryan, and also when he first showed the tool to me. I think in our advocacy work, it's just really helpful, like the sort by town and city is probably the most helpful thing for us, because really people don't understand how many of these high performance buildings are being built. Cindy went to a meeting the other day where there was zoning, a ZBA board that was even questioning the efficacy of all electric heating. And so, you run the gamut of we're in some communities where this is just really like a new concept. And so, but in those same communities, all of a sudden, Alexandra Gard Murray from Passive House will say, oh, well, did you realize that you've got this big affordable housing, multifamily housing project right in your town that's passive house, and they'll have no idea because these they're not really marketed in a way to have the public be aware. So I think like the sorting by town, the sorting by town and city would be super helpful for us
And I think
in an easier way than just going to like having to go through an additional search.
right. And I think another thing I just wanted to add on to that, I agree with Lisa. It's also useful if you're in town X to see what's happening in the towns around you, right? Or your sort of comparable, municipalities. So I think that's very useful.
Yeah, that's a great point because people do like to benchmark their towns to other towns. Like they'll be like, well, fine, they have a passive, Brookline has a passive house building, but what about like, Malden? I mean, like Brookline's really not our peer community. Erica.
Hello. Oh, my camera's there we go. Now I'm looking at everybody. Yeah, I think I'm a green engineer, and I think this will be super helpful for me. Just when we're doing presentations or putting proposals together and looking for benchmarks and what other example projects are in the area. When clients are asking, well, what can we do about this? And no, I'm glad to know this exists because I see that green engineer is on there, but I am not. So I have to go back and find out from our marketing folks if that's on me or if we need to get the rest of green engineer on there. So yeah, I'm really glad to be sitting in on this today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Erica. I will say we are doing a push for project data ahead of our next report. So when you reach out to your marketing team, ask if there's any projects that aren't on there that should be on there.
I'm sure there's a lot.
Yeah, well, it'd be great. So I can drop my email if you want to follow up with me with any more questions about
That would be awesome.
kind of what we're looking for.
And
Thanks.
Yeah,
I'll just add.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Erica, you said, is it on you or your marketing team? We see this as at least for your own professional profile, that it is your profile, and that when you leave Green Engineer, that it would still be like your profile and you can still be associated with the projects because you worked on those projects. They're part of your portfolio, right? And so I would encourage you just to go ahead and create an account for yourself.
I just did.
Great. And so once you do that, then once you create a profile for yourself, then once you create a profile, you have access to all the other projects. You can update projects, you can add projects, you can connect yourself to projects. It's really self-service, and so you don't have to be dependent on your company to do the work for you. So you can spread the load.
Yeah, it's more of a clarification of who's going to upload the project.
Yeah,
the project information.
Yeah, and then also coordinating with the consulting teams. I mean, so it could be that you upload a project, but then the architects that you worked with, you guys can both work on the project together. You could put in some images, they could put in some images.
Exactly.
And make sure. And then we also are looking to people to not just be one and done, but to, put it up during schematic design, but then come back as the project progresses and ultimately get the actuals instead of modeled data.
Cindy.
That would be huge.
Oh, sorry, Cindy. That's great. Erica, thanks for all that. Really appreciate it.
Actually, Meredith just answered the question the what I was going to ask about because I noticed that you have modeled EUI data and then measured EUI data, and I think that's something that will be really useful. So thank you for mentioning that again. I think that's really useful for getting project information, and it will be really useful for other projects going forward. So, and thanks again, Ryan, for sort of mentioning that. We want to get more projects up here, so spread the word, right?
And so at what point do you include projects? Like at what point, is it schematic design or yes?
Any point that they're becoming real is really to get them up, because we want people to know what's going on. We want people to know that this is happening, that this work is going on, and it's happening. When you do put a project in, we ask for a project completion date. We are watching that project completion date and contacting the teams if it's gone past the project completion date to verify that the project has actually been completed. Because we do want the project, and if there are projects that completely get on hold and are never coming off of hold, well, then we're going to take them down from the site because we want the project to the page to be full of actual projects. But we think it's important to be showing, the breadth of work, especially since it takes so long. When we first did that first net zero report in 2019, I think we found it was like less than a dozen project examples of these types of projects, and now we have over 440 projects. It's been really fun to watch this grow over time.
That's really great. In terms of growth, another question is what is your timeline for getting into other states, and where are you going to focus? And actually, are we ahead of the curve in Massachusetts? Is that your impression or not?
Massachusetts is absolutely ahead of the curve, and people are looking to us for leadership. And I don't know if you guys just saw, but Massachusetts just ranked first for LEED in the country, which is exciting. And for the second year in a row, we've always been in the top 10. But when we're working with our peer organizations across the country, looking to Illinois, to California, to New York are some of where we're going next. We are actively raising money right now. We need to raise nearly $450,000 this next year in order to keep this project operational. And we're quickly actually running out of funds. And so we have a business plan, and we are actively going after funding for this to be able to extend it. And part of the plan is to extend beyond Massachusetts. The majority of the content right now is for Massachusetts, but we have, there are projects on there, and have some partnerships, particularly Illinois Green Alliance is our biggest partner right now in terms of getting their projects on there.
Well, great. Well, I'm looking at the clock. Thanks so much, Meredith. And thanks so much, Ryan. It's been great working with you. Thanks to all our attendees. And we did record this so we can send it out and share it on our listserv. And if anybody would like to be added to our listserv that's not currently on it, that would be great as well. And I just want to thank you for taking the time to do this great presentation, and looking forward to seeing it as it gets built out even further.
Yeah, well, thank you for having us, Lisa, and thanks everyone for attending and for your interest and questions.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Ryan.